Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies recently admitted that the stories that he writes are about gay men and being a queer person. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com this morning, and his comments were reported by Radio Times. And he made them during a BAFTA event called A Life in Pictures, Russell T Davies. And this is what he said. It's not so much that there's unexplored topics, but the topics I do write about keep changing. Like being a gay man or being a queer person in society is changing now, admitting that those are the topics that he is indeed writing about. Anyone who has watched any of his most recent Doctor Who episodes, it's very clear that is exactly what he writes about. And almost seems like that's exclusively what he writes about now. If he even wrote anything about that was not about that previously, can't really comment on that. Didn't watch any of his previous works. I've only seen some of the episodes that he's done here in this most recent Doctor Who, and it is just sheer propaganda. And he is admitting that. And he's admitted that on a number of occasions. We'll get to that in a little bit here. But he goes on and says this: 10 years ago, or even when we did Queer as Folk 25 years ago, we were on the up. It was like good times are here. Now they're absolutely not. That wave coming from America where they're trying to have legislation banning drag queens, that's absolutely going to come here. Obviously, speaking in the United Kingdom to a British audience. Sounds like a good thing that's going to be actually exported from America into the United Kingdom there. Obviously, he is opposed to that because he is a man who pushes an evil agenda. And he even includes these weirdos in his shows. Ironically, he makes them villains because they're creepy and scary, and they make good villains. He then went on and said, we might get a Labour government in the next couple of years, but that just means we'll have a very right-wing government after that. They're all waiting. They've started the conversation in this country about banning abortion. It's started already amongst that right wing. Again, sounds like something good that is going to be exported into the United Kingdom. Banning child murder is a good thing. This guy's an absolute lunatic thinking that that is wrong. Again, these people have zero moral compass, and the moral compass that they might have is inverted. They think that evil is good and that good is evil. And then you wonder why their shows are absolutely terrible because they have this twisted worldview. Tolkien is absolutely right. Evil cannot create, it can only twist what is good. And that's exactly what you see when you have people like Russell T Davies making Doctor Who. It is a twisted deformation of what the original Doctor Who was. Davies then declared this: so I think our rights are paper thin. The world is becoming unsafe. So I will always keep writing about that. I will always keep writing about male gayness if people will have me. Fortunately, it does indeed look like the British population is turning on Russell T Davies. His episodes for Doctor Who are the worst rated in the entire franchise. I think the most recent episode almost went below 2 million in overnight numbers. I think it was like 2.01 or 2.02. So very close. Maybe this upcoming episode will go even lower and will dip below 2 million. People do not want to see this disgusting, degenerate propaganda on their screens anymore. And I'm actually very well pleased that the British people are saying no to it. He then confirmed that his next show after Doctor Who will be focused on this. Interesting, he's already talking about doing things after Doctor Who. We've got some other comments from him indicating that maybe Doctor Who won't be going forward after this these first two seasons were greenlit right away, because we know he says he has been working on a season 3 and he has plans for season 4, but he says those are all up in the air now. But this is another confirmation that maybe the show might be done after these first 2 seasons. But he said this: the world has changed. The world changes around you. So whatever I do next after Doctor Who, I hope is about that. Absolutely, because we're in a very strange world now. So he's just confirming that he's going to be continuing to push propaganda in order to try and influence people to vote his way, have the twisted morality that he has, and get people to kind of buy into his disgusting, evil worldview. And as I said, these comments are not unsurprising. He told Deadline earlier this year that it was his job to push transgender and queer stories. This is what he said. I know I was part of a rising tide of gay, lesbian, and other writers, all of us contributing to the soaps and chipping into primetime dramas, all of us slowly and then rapidly increasing the visibility of queer characters on screen. And I'm lucky that I was one that burst through and got that on screen. I'm always aware, especially as time marches on, that I carry this legacy of being white, male, and gay. And it's my job to look beyond that because there's no point in sitting still. I have to look at myself and be certain that I've moved on. I look to society and try to listen to what's going on and open gateways. He then said this: when you become a senior figure in television, it's your job to open doors and let the next people through, and to let trans and queer stories through, and to become familiar with this language myself instead of settling into middle age. So obviously, there he is admitting that he is indeed trying to push these stories as propaganda, and obviously inject them into Doctor Who and throughout British media. Yeah, and as I noted, the ratings are absolutely terrible. He's tried to put a spin on it, saying that I'm very proud of it. You know, they might not be the ratings we'd love. We always want higher, but they are building over the 28-day period. Episode 1, Space Babies, is already up to 5.6 million and counting, so it is getting there. Just to show you how absolutely terrible that is, Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company said that the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte on their premiere date did 11.1 million globally. Now, we don't know what that is in the US or what it was in the UK, but that definitely definitely makes that 5.6 million be even bad. And I think those Acolyte numbers are absolutely atrocious as well. So 5.6 million after a month is just absolutely terrible. But then he's literally indicates here that he views it as a success because he's reaching younger audiences, youthful audiences, because he's trying to warp their minds. It's his whole goal with the program. He says, I was brought back in to bring in a youthful audience that's been massively successful. The audience no one ever gets are the under 30s. They just don't watch television anymore. But those figures are astronomical for Doctor Who. It's their top program in that bracket. Again, we already know that the ratings are absolutely terrible. So maybe there is a higher percentage of younger people, but overall, there's probably not a lot of young people watching the show, given the fact that you're only seeing around 2 million watch overnight. So the percentage of that being young people, sure, it might be a little bit higher, but it's still overall, it's not that much. There's just playing a little math games there, trying to spin this stuff. And then he did go on to admit this, that the show's future was, quote, still up in the air. And as I said, he had previously indicated, he told this to SFX magazine, that he was planning season 3 now, and there's plans for season 4. But now he's saying it's up in the air, and he's already talking about what he will be doing after Doctor Who. That indicates that this show might not be on the air as long as it was originally expected. And that is a massive, massive win if that is indeed the case, because we will not see Russell T Davies pushing his gay and queer agenda on to both the British and American pop media viewers. That is good. We don't need to be seeing this propaganda on Disney Plus or on BBC. But let me know what you guys make of Russell T Davies admitting that these are the stories that he writes, and he plans to continue to try and push this propaganda even after he finishes with Doctor Who. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.